South America is a continent whose folklore I've talked about before, but got a lot of comments telling me about other monsters that I definitely should have mentioned. Like Corpo-Seco, or the dried body, which once belonged to a man so evil that the earth just straight up refused to decompose his body, and the devil himself rejected his soul from entering hell. So now he's just kind of stumbling around the countrysides of Brazil until Judgment Day cometh. Now, typically when you hear about some maniacal evildoer gaining the power of immortality, it's all part of a larger plan to do evil for a much longer time. But instead, I guess Corpo had a change of heart and decided to not do that. I'm just saying, if he was still out to make a name for himself and has had hundreds of years to do so, then I probably would have heard of the evil, mummified dictator of Brazil by now. Another good one was Sasuke, a one-legged dirt spirit that will grant the wish of anyone capable of stealing his red cap. However, since it's rude to steal other people's hats, the cap is incredibly smelly, and once you steal it, you'll never be able to wash your hands of its odor again. Makes you wonder what would happen if you wished to just never smell bad. I imagine he'd look down at his foot, tears in his eyes. But that was the whole point, he'd say, sadly. Also, as promised in my original award-winning video on this topic, I'll be telling you about the holy trinity of mother snake goddesses found in Peru. First on the list is Mama, who is the daughter of a wind tree named Caspi, and is also the mother of all winds, both good and evil. What exactly that means, I couldn't tell you, but if I had to guess, I'd say that good winds are the kinds that push plot-relevant paperwork into the protagonist's face, and an evil wind would be like a hurricane, I guess? I don't know. Anyway, she's an air spirit that takes on the form of a boa constrictor with an old woman's head. Obviously, with a title as mystical as Mother of the Winds, she has a whole slew of weather-based superpowers that she's more than willing to let worthy shamans take for a spin. One such shaman was Don Emilio Shunya, who was given the power to control the skies by Mama, after fasting for 54 days and drinking nothing but tea made from Caspa. And yes, before you ask, Caspa is the wind snake's mom, so I'm assuming they don't have the best relationship. Anyway, after Don Emilio did all of this, Mama appeared to him, her long serpentine body intertwined with the surrounding hillsides, and her coarse hair reaching far into the clouds above, where she then said, and I quote, "Alright man, what's your wish?" Which is probably my favorite way for a god to possibly respond to someone. Like, just imagine going through the trouble of performing some kind of Faustian ritual to summon Enoch, the Prince of Darkness, only for him to be like, "Yo, what's up? You need something?" Apparently, the whole human head thing was a one-time only type of deal, because the other two snakes are basically just really big snakes, with the slight exception of Sakamama, who has a massive knife just jutting out of her neck. She also has an entire forest ecosystem hanging out on her lower back, and telepathic powers that allow her to pull anything or anyone toward her, presumably for the purpose of cutting them open with the aforementioned massive knife jutting out of her neck. As to avoid disturbing her forest ecosystem, Sakamama doesn't really move all that much, which leads to her neglecting some of her divine duties. For example, the various herbs and spices covering her back are imbued with a magical medicine that could be used to save countless lives. But she just doesn't bother to do anything with them. Like, this man has the cure to cancer just hanging out in her lower thoracic, but hasn't gotten around to using it yet because I guess she has better stuff to do. Like, sitting around. Anyway, I don't understand, but if nothing else, she certainly has the audacity, and I can respect that. Snake number 3. Yakuma is just a big snake. That's it. I mean, an alternate name for her is literally Cobra Grande, which means big snake. Okay, next monster. I'm kidding. Let's talk about the big snake. She has the same telekinetic powers as Sakamama, but unlike our woodland friend, she also does some actual god stuff. Neat. When she's in a good mood, she'll summon lots of rain and scads of fish, but if you catch her on a bad day, like one where she stubbed her tail or something, then she'll instead summon terrible storms, whirlpools, and frogs. Sometimes, though, she'll mix it up a little bit and just eat every fish. Like all of them. And then there's just no more fish, so I hope you caught enough already, because if not, you're gonna have to enter the big snake. Alright, next monster, for real this time. Just to wrap up, let's do some rapid fire. El Kukui is an evil shape-shifting ghost demon that kidnaps and devours people, but sometimes he goes by the name Coco, which makes him sound kinda cute. In Uruguay, if you're the 7th son in an unbroken line of boys, you will inexplicably be cursed to turn into a massive wolf every Friday for the rest of your life. Congratulations, you're called El Lobizon, and you just lost the world's worst game of chance. El Curo is the unsafe blend of an animal's hide and a terrible, awful leech monster that will haunt my dreams until my dying breath. It's from Chile. Last but certainly not least is the Titan Boa, which quite a few people asked about in the last video, but this one is literally just a big snake. It's not even a cryptid, it's just a real dead animal. So I have no idea what you wanted me to say about them, but Here you go, I guess. Anyway, I think I've covered more than enough, so if you enjoyed, then let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if there are other places I should talk about in a video like this, and until next time, don't die. See you later. There's a frog in my house, and he's tiny, and his name is Joe, and he's the cutest little guy I've ever seen in my entire life. And he's hopping. This is how big he is. And he jumped right over my hand. I love this man so much. Godspeed, Joe. Have a good life.